At sunrise, Rome believed it was about to end a war. By sunset, 70,000 Romans were dead, slaughtered in a space smaller than Central Park. This wasn't just a defeat, it was the most complete military destruction in human history. And the terrifying part? Rome did everything right according to their doctrine. So how did an army twice the size walk straight into its own execution? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how one man turned Rome's greatest strength into a death sentence, and why this battle is still studied by the US military today. By the end of this story, you'll see how confidence became Rome's greatest weakness, how a formation that should never work annihilated a superpower, and the timeless lesson this battle teaches about leadership, strategy, and ego. If you enjoy stories where history reads like a thriller and where intelligence beats brute force, subscribe now, because this channel is where ancient battles meet modern lessons. Now let's rewind to the morning Rome thought it had already won. August 2nd, 216 BC. The plains of Apulia stretch wide and flat under the rising sun. On one side, 86,000 Roman soldiers, the largest army Rome had ever assembled. On the other, 50,000 Carthaginians, led by a general who had never attempted anything this ambitious. Rome's numbers were overwhelming, their equipment superior, their confidence absolute. After humiliating defeats at Trebia and Lake Trasimene, the Senate had done the unthinkable, mobilized nearly the Republic's entire military capacity. Allies were stripped of their young men. Every available legion marched south. This wasn't an army, it was a statement. And standing across the river from them was a 29-year-old general named Hannibal Barca, calmly preparing to gamble everything. What Rome didn't realize was that Hannibal wasn't looking at their army. He was studying their mindset. Every military doctrine of the ancient world agreed on one thing. If you are outnumbered nearly 2-to-1, you retreat, you find defensible ground, you wait for reinforcements, you survive. Hannibal did the opposite. Overnight, he arranged his army into a formation that looked wrong. At the center, 20,000 Gauls and Iberians formed a bulging crescent, pushed forward toward the Romans, thin, exposed, weak. On the flanks, slightly behind the curve, stood Hannibal's secret weapon, Libyan heavy infantry, veterans equipped with Roman armor taken from earlier victories. And guarding the wings, Numidian light cavalry on the right, Iberian and Gallic heavy cavalry on the left. It looked like a mistake. It was a trap. And everything depended on one assumption, that Rome could not resist attacking the center. Consul Gaius Terentius Varro surveyed the battlefield. He saw exactly what Hannibal wanted him to see: a weak center, a chance for glory, an opportunity to crush the invader in a single blow. Varro ordered something unprecedented. Instead of spreading his army wide, he compressed it into deep columns, forming a massive battering ram of human bodies. 70,000 men designed to punch straight through Hannibal's center. It had never failed before, and at that moment, it sealed Rome's fate. If this formation broke through, Hannibal was finished.
But if it didn't, Rome would be trapped with no room to escape. At mid-morning, skirmishers clashed across open ground. Then, on Hannibal's left wing, cavalry commander Hasdrubal gave the order: charge. 5,000 Carthaginian horsemen slammed into Rome's cavalry pinned against the river. The Romans expected to hold. Instead, they were crushed. In less than 20 minutes, Rome's right flank was gone, slaughtered, scattered, hunted down from behind. and the infantry battle was just beginning. 70,000 Romans advanced, step by step, shield to shield, an avalanche of iron and flesh. The Carthaginian center absorbed the impact. Then slowly, deliberately, it began to retreat.
Pounding us!
The crescent flattened, then curved inward. To
Close the
Varro,
trap!
it looked like victory. He committed more men forward, compressed the formation further, drove deeper into the pocket.
What he didn't see was that the Roman army was walking into a closing fist. As the Roman center surged forward, the Libyan infantry moved. Both flanks pivoted inward at once. Roman soldiers suddenly found enemies attacking from the sides, elite troops in captured Roman armor, striking with discipline and precision. At the same moment, Carthaginian cavalry returned from the rear. The encirclement was complete. 80,000 men trapped in a shrinking ring of steel. No room to maneuver, no room to retreat, no escape. This was not combat, it was extermination. For 4 hours, the killing continued. Romans were packed so tightly they could barely raise their swords. Men fought standing on corpses. The heat, dust, and screams were unbearable.
Consul Aemilius Paulus, wounded and bleeding, refused to flee. "Let me die here," he said, "among my slaughtered soldiers." By mid-afternoon, it was over. 70,000 Romans dead, one consul killed, another fleeing with a handful of cavalry. Rome's political and military leadership wiped out in a single day. Carthaginian losses, 6,000 men, mostly those who held the center. Hannibal had achieved something timeless. He proved that numbers do not guarantee victory. Strength without strategy becomes a liability, and confidence, when unexamined, is fatal. Rome would recover. Rome would eventually win the war. But on that day at Cannae, the Republic learned its most painful lesson. Power without humility invites destruction. If you want more stories where history exposes the real rules of success, failure, and leadership, subscribe now, because the deadliest lessons are often the ones we refuse to learn until it's too late. If you enjoy stories where history reads like a thriller and where intelligence beats brute force, subscribe now, because this channel is where ancient battles meet modern lessons.